Imagine stepping into a stillness so profound it feels like the world pauses, as if time itself holds its breath. Not just the absence of noise, but a sacred hush that unveils truths buried beneath life's chaos, hidden insights waiting to be discovered in the quiet. When was the last time you were truly alone, unplugged from devices, undisturbed by the buzz of daily demands, free from the weight of others' expectations or judging eyes? What if that silence became your greatest ally, a refuge where your soul can breathe and grow? Today, we're diving into why saints like Saint Jerome, who heard God's voice in silence, Saint John the Silent, who thrived alone for 76 years, and Saint Anthony of the Desert, who transformed isolation into spiritual strength, saw solitude as holy ground, a sacred space for divine encounter. By the end, you'll uncover a transformative truth about yourself that could reshape how you live, offering a new lens on your purpose and peace, starting right now. Stay with me, because this journey might just redefine your relationship with being alone, unlocking a deeper connection to your inner world and the divine. Solitude. The word stirs a storm of feelings, peace for some, dread for others. But what if we've misunderstood its essence entirely? Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher renowned for his piercing insights, revered solitude not as isolation but as a gateway to clarity, freedom, and a profound connection with truth. His perspective challenges the modern obsession with constant interaction, offering a radical alternative that invites introspection. Yet, long before Schopenhauer's 18th century musings, saints embraced this quiet with divine purpose, viewing it as a sacred space for communion with the divine. Saint Jerome, an early church father, declared, "God speaks and converses with those who keep silence with him," revealing solitude as a divine dialogue where the soul meets its creator. This timeless wisdom resonates even now, as we navigate a hyper-connected world, where value is measured by likes, notifications, and the relentless hum of social validation, making the choice to step into solitude feel almost revolutionary. Schopenhauer and these saints challenge us to look inward when the crowd fades, urging us to seek substance beyond superficial pursuits. Born in the late 18th century amid intellectual and political upheaval, Schopenhauer turned away from societal noise, retreating into his mind's depths. In his seminal work, The World as Will and Representation, he argued that pursuits like wealth, status, and even relationships are mere shadows, fleeting illusions that distract from true fulfillment. The saints echo this sentiment, with figures like Saint Anthony of the Desert, who spent 20 years in solitude facing temptations and emerging with wisdom, suggesting that solitude strips away these illusions to reveal our authentic selves. This alignment between philosophy and spirituality highlights a universal truth. In the silence, we confront who we truly are, unburdened by external expectations. This idea feels especially poignant in an era where digital noise drowns out personal reflection, urging us to reclaim solitude as a deliberate act of self-discovery and spiritual renewal. If you hunger for truth, dare to subscribe now. Unseen Saints brings you the unvarnished wisdom of the past, delivered straight to today's restless heart. Solitude isn't easy. It's a mirror reflecting our unfaceable truths, unresolved pain, hidden fears, and the quiet whispers of doubts we've long buried. This introspective space demands courage, stripping away the comforting noise of daily life to reveal the raw essence of who we are. Saint John the Silent, who lived alone for 76 years in a remote monastery, mastered the silence, transforming it into a source of spiritual strength through deep recollection and prayer. His life exemplifies how solitude, when embraced, becomes a forge for inner resilience. Schopenhauer echoed this wisdom, writing, "The more a man has in himself, the less he will want from others," a profound insight mirrored by Saint Anthony of the Desert. After spending 20 years in solitude, battling temptations, and seeking God, Saint Anthony emerged as a beacon of wisdom, founding monasticism and inspiring countless others to seek divine truth in stillness. This paradox thrives. The richer our inner life, cultivated through reflection, prayer, and self-awareness, the less we crave external validation, whether from social media applause or societal approval. Yet, the silence can terrify, acting as a relentless mirror that forces us to confront who we are beyond the masks we wear, job titles, social circles, or fleeting achievements. It lays bare the insecurities we avoid and the dreams we've deferred, creating discomfort that many flee. Carl Jung's words, "Who looks inside awakes," align seamlessly with the saint's belief that solitude awakens the soul, offering a path to self-discovery that transcends superficial connections. In a world starved for genuine connection yet paradoxically isolated by constant interaction, Schopenhauer and these holy figures urge us to embrace solitude not as an escape from life, but as a profound engagement with our deepest self. This challenge is universal, whether in the deserts of early Christianity or the bustling modern age. The call to sit with oneself remains a radical act. Historical figures like Saint Catherine of Siena, who retreated to her room to pray, and Saint Thomas Merton, who found God in monastic silence, reinforce this truth. Solitude is a battleground where we face our shadows, but also a sanctuary where we uncover our light. This duality makes it both daunting and divine, inviting us to step boldly into the quiet to meet the person we're meant to become. Solitude isn't rejection, it's a return, a sacred homecoming to the self. Saint Catherine of Siena, a mystic of the 14th century, withdrew to her room as a young woman, transforming silence into a conduit for divine love. She wrote in her dialogue that this quiet space allowed her to connect deeply with God, linking solitude with a profound sense of affection and purpose. Similarly, Saint John of the Cross, the 16th century Spanish mystic, poetically described solitude as silent music, sounding solitude, a phrase that captures its harmonious depth, where the soul finds rest and inspiration amid stillness. This inward turn is not mere isolation but a deliberate act that fosters authenticity, compassion, and an unshakable peace that radiates outward. It strips away the masks we wear for others, revealing our truest nature. Psychologist Rollo May offered a modern lens, distinguishing loneliness as a painful sense of abandonment from solitude as a deliberate, enriching choice for personal growth. This distinction aligns with the lives of saints who turned solitude into a crucible for transformation. Take Saint Patrick, kidnapped and enslaved in Ireland during the 5th century. In the solitude of his captivity, he meditated and prayed, forging a spiritual resilience that later fueled his missionary work, spreading Christianity across the land. Likewise, Saint Alice of Scarbeck, a 13th century Cistercian nun, faced enforced solitude due to leprosy. Isolated from her community, she found solace in the Eucharist, experiencing visions of Christ that deepened her faith and turned her suffering into a testament of grace. These examples, paralleled by Schopenhauer's philosophy, illustrate how solitude builds inner wholeness, a stay where one is complete within oneself, enabling love that flows freely without clinging or dependency. In today's world, modern relationships often emerge from a fear of being alone, a void we rush to fill with others' presence. Yet, solitude teaches self-sufficiency, a lesson echoed by B.L. Paolo Giustiniani, the 16th century Camaldolese monk, who reflected, "Until I was alone, I never really lived." His words suggest that solitude is not a void but a fullness, a space where we cultivate the inner resources to love authentically. This self-reliance counters the cultural obsession with constant connection, where we seek validation externally. Saints like Saint Thomas Merton, who embraced monastic silence in the 20th century, furthered this idea, seeing solitude as a way to bring love back to the world with greater depth. By retreating inward, we emerge not diminished but enriched, ready to engage with others from a place of strength rather than need. This transformation is a slow unveiling, where solitude becomes a garden for the soul, nurtured by reflection and sustained by the courage to face oneself. It's a practice that invites us to sit with our thoughts, to listen to the quiet stirrings of our heart, and to find, as these saints did, that in solitude lies the seed of a more compassionate, authentic life. Creativity flourishes in silence, a truth echoed across time by minds and souls who dared to step away from the clamor. Leonardo da Vinci, with his sketches illuminating the mysteries of flight and anatomy, often retreated into solitary reflection, allowing his genius to unfold in quiet spaces. Emily Dickinson, cloistered in her Amherst home, penned poetry that resonates with raw emotion and insight, her solitude a crucible for her lyrical brilliance. These examples align with the wisdom of saints who saw silence as a sacred wellspring. Saint Thomas Merton, the Trappist monk, found solitude transforming the natural world into a living prayer, every rustling leaf and bird call a hymn to the divine. The Desert Fathers, those early Christian hermits of the 3rd and 4th centuries, distilled this into a simple yet profound teaching: go, sit in your cell, and your cell will teach you everything. This directive suggests that solitude is not merely an escape but an active teacher, revealing truths through stillness. Schopenhauer, the philosopher who revered inner depth, offered a provocative lens with his assertion, reading is thinking with someone else's head. This challenges us to move beyond borrowed ideas, urging a synthesis of our own thoughts born in solitary contemplation. His insight resonates with the saint's emphasis on personal revelation over external noise. Modern psychology supports this, identifying constructive solitude as a deliberate practice that enhances self-awareness, sharpens problem-solving skills, and fosters emotional resilience. Individuals who embrace this intentional aloneness report a heightened ability to navigate life's complexities, their minds uncluttered by constant input. Neuroscience further validates this ancient wisdom, revealing that quiet reflection activates the brain's default mode network, a system linked to self-awareness, memory consolidation, and introspection. This rewiring process strengthens our capacity for clarity, allowing us to discern what truly matters. Saints like Saint Francis of Sales, who encouraged believers to recall yourself sometimes to the interior solitude of your heart, understood this purifying power. He saw solitude as a return to the self, a space where the mind is cleansed of distractions, enabling a deeper connection to one's purpose and faith. This interplay of creativity and clarity, rooted in both philosophical and spiritual traditions, invites us to carve out moments of silence, trusting that within them lies the potential for profound personal growth and innovation. Whether through the artist's brush, the poet's pen, or the saint's prayer, solitude emerges as a universal catalyst, transforming the inner landscape into a fertile ground for insight and creation. Solitude unravels emotional knots, grief, suppressed dreams, and long-buried fears that we often avoid in the rush of daily life. It acts as a gentle yet persistent force, peeling back the layers of distraction to reveal the raw material of our inner world. Saint Venerable Francis Xavier Nguyen Van Thuan, confined in solitary isolation for 9 years under harsh political imprisonment, transformed his suffering into a wellspring of hope. Despite the darkness, he penned inspiring messages and secretly celebrated Mass, demonstrating how solitude can become a sacred forge for resilience and faith. His life exemplifies how enforced stillness can refine the soul, turning pain into a profound testament of strength. This aligns with Carl Rogers' humanistic psychology, which posits that true growth emerges from complete self-acceptance, embracing flaws, contradictions, and all. Solitude provides the quiet space where this acceptance can take root, allowing us to sit with discomfort rather than flee from it. The process isn't always pleasant. It demands courage to face suppressed emotions head-on, yet this very discomfort births a deep reverence for existence. Henry David Thoreau, in his Retreat to Walden Pond, captured this beautifully, describing solitude as the companion that was so companionable, suggesting a profound kinship with the self and the natural world. This reverence extends beyond the personal, connecting us to a larger mystery. Schopenhauer, despite his pessimism, intuited a metaphysical will, a universal force animating all life, within the silence, hinting at a deeper reality beneath surface chaos. Similarly, saints like Saint John the Silent, who thrived in 76 years of chosen solitude, and Saint Alice of Scarbeck, who found solace in Eucharistic visions during leprosy isolation, perceived God's presence in their quiet moments. This connection dissolves the ego, stripping away the need for external validation and fostering awe at the interconnectedness of life. It's as if solitude opens a window to the eternal, where the rhythm of breath, the whisper of wind, or the stillness of a moment becomes a dialogue with something vast and unknowable. This reorients our perspective, shifting focus from self-centered concerns to a humble appreciation of our place in the cosmic dance. Modern psychology supports this, noting that reflective solitude enhances emotional regulation and empathy, as we learn to hold space for our own struggles and, by extension, others. For the saints, this was a divine encounter. For Schopenhauer, a philosophical revelation. Together, they invite us to embrace solitude not as isolation but as a transformative journey, where emotional integration and awe converge to heal and elevate the human spirit. This sacred stillness, whether found in a desert cell or a quiet room, becomes a mirror reflecting our deepest truths and a bridge to a transcendent reality, urging us to linger in its embrace and discover the fullness it offers. Solitude is freedom's cradle, a sacred space that tears through Schopenhauer's veil of Maya, the illusions of status, approval, and worldly validation that so often bind us. This veil distorts our perception, convincing us that our worth lies in external accolades, titles, possessions, the applause of others. Yet, as Schopenhauer argued, these are fleeting shadows, not the substance of a meaningful life. In solitude, this illusion dissolves, revealing a profound truth: we are enough as we are. This realization is not merely intellectual, it is a visceral awakening, a shedding of the masks we wear to please the world. Saint Bruno, who sought the desert's harsh embrace, found divine exaltation in that silence, a joy that transcended human praise. His life, spent in solitary prayer, exemplifies how solitude strips away the inessential, leaving only the eternal. In the quiet of attentive presence, the mind's relentless chatter, its anxieties, plans, and judgments, begins to fade. This is no passive state but an active engagement with the self. Imagine sitting still, breath steady, as thoughts drift like leaves on a stream, observed but not owned. Here, the compulsive need to perform, to prove, or to seek validation evaporates. Saints like Saint John the Silent, who lived 76 years alone, mastered this art, turning silence into a sanctuary where the soul meets its maker. Schopenhauer echoes this, suggesting that only those who can endure their own company are truly free, for they rely not on others but on the richness within. This liberation is transformative. It radiates love, not born of need but of abundance. It redefines success, not as a trophy case of achievements, but as an inner harmony that withstands life's storms. Consider the ripple effect of this freedom. Imagine a world where solitude is cultivated, not feared. Artists might create works of unparalleled depth, unburdened by trends or expectations. Think of a painter capturing the soul of a solitary tree, or a writer penning prose that mirrors the quiet strength of Saint Anthony of the desert. Relationships would flourish with authenticity, as individuals bring wholeness rather than emptiness to their connections. Leadership would rise from those who lead with inner peace, like Saint Venerable Francis Xavier Nguyen Van Thuan, who, in solitary confinement, inspired millions with his writings. This vision is not utopian. It begins with a single choice, to step into solitude. Yet, this path demands courage. The world resists silence, equating it with isolation or weakness. Schopenhauer faced this, labeled misanthropic for his solitude, yet his clarity cut through the noise of his time. Saints faced similar scorn. Saint Catherine of Siena withdrew to her room, enduring family disapproval, while Saint Alice of Scarbeck, isolated by leprosy, found divine companionship amid human neglect. Their stories teach us that solitude often invites misunderstanding or rejection. The weight of being alone can feel heavy, a test of resolve. But within that weight lies strength. As B.L. Paolo Giustiniani reflected, "Until I was alone, I never really lived," suggesting that true life emerges when we dare to face ourselves. This freedom also reshapes our emotional landscape. In solitude, we confront buried wounds, grief, shame, abandoned dreams, with honesty. St. Thomas Merton, in his monastic silence, turned nature into prayer, finding healing in the rhythm of the wind. Modern psychology supports this, showing that reflective solitude activates the brain's default mode network, fostering self-awareness and emotional integration. This process is not always comfortable. It can feel like standing naked before a mirror. Yet, as Carl Rogers noted, accepting ourselves, flaws and all, sparks growth. Solitude becomes a crucible, burning away false identities to reveal our authentic core. Moreover, this inner freedom connects us to something vast. Schopenhauer glimpsed a metaphysical world beneath appearances, while saints like Saint John of the Cross described silent music as a communion with the divine. In solitude, we notice the world anew, the rustle of leaves, the breath in our lungs, awakening reverence. This is not isolation but participation in a cosmic dance, a reminder that we are not mere specks but conscious threads in a greater tapestry. The power of solitude lies in its paradox. By stepping back, we plunge deeper into life. It is a gift preserved by saints and philosophers alike, a legacy of strength for a restless world. Start today, sit quietly, breathe deeply, and ask, who am I beneath the noise? Let this question guide you, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Observe your thoughts, feel your presence, and allow silence to speak. This is rebirth, spurning the scraps and games of external validation for what aligns with your truth. If these words stir you, you are ready to prize yourself, even if solitary. The journey ahead may bring misunderstanding, rejection, or the weight of solitude, but these are the forge of inner freedom. Tell me below, will you brave these challenges for the sake of your peace? Write, I choose my peace, and declare your resolve. Let us see who stands firm, who dares to walk this path of strength and silence. Your commitment is your power. The journey continues. Watch the next video, for it holds deeper truths to guide you. It matters more than you yet know. Until then, hold fast to your newfound resolve, and let peace be your shield in a restless world. If you enjoyed this video, you may subscribe now. Unseen Saints brings you the unvarnished wisdom of the past, delivered straight to today's restless heart. See you in the next video.